Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. I apologize in advance for my voice, guys. I am still quite sick, and as you can tell, I'm losing my voice a little bit, but we're going to try and power through here so I can get you guys some content for the evening. So, today I've got a replay between myself playing as the followers of Nagash. We're fighting up against the Greenskins. I've got a generic Tomb King on a Cambrian War Sphinx here. The Cambrian War Sphinx is currently a very powerful monster, has 80 charge bonus, heavy armor piercing, anti-infantry, although it is still very good against large targets as well. Decent combat stats and 110 armor. It also has 68 speed, giving it about the same speed as most heavy cavalry. And for the magic, we've got a, we've got a Lich Priest with the Lord Nehekara. He's on a horse for extra mobility. He's got the Incantation of Cursed Blades, Incantation of Protection, and of course the curse he carries, which gives minus 60 armor. So we're going to try and spam those cheap buff spells to get as much healing as possible. We've also got a Tomb Prince on a chariot just for some anti-infantry duty. For the main army, we've got two Ushabti Great Bows here. Excuse me. Another Cambrian War Sphinx. We've got 3 Crypt Ghouls, which come with the followers of Nagash faction. We've got 3 Skeleton Spearmen, as well as on the far side a unit of Carrion, and I believe there's another unit of Carrion way out here. So my opponent's got Azhag the Slaughterer, Spirit Leech, Fate of Yuna, what you would expect from Azhag. For his infantry, he's got, we've got Orc Biggins, 4 of them, which are a very good choice against the Tomb Kings. We've also got 2 Black Orcs. One of them is the Regiment of Renowned Crimson Killers, who you don't get to see very often, but are definitely one of my favorite looking units in the game. These Black Orcs in bright red armor with dual wielding, huge axes. Just looks awesome. So cool. We've also got a few skirmishers here. We've got, Rusty Airs and another unit of Night Gobbo Archers. Broken Tusk Mob in the sweeper position. Out on the flanks, we've got a Gobbo Big Boss with an Orc Boar Biggin. And yeah, that's pretty much it for my opponent's army. Oh, there is also the unit of Death's Creepers here. Very important. They're a unit of Night Goblin Spider Riders with some very nice abilities, including Stalk and Regeneration, making them a very powerful unit, especially in the late game. So let's go ahead and kick things off. See how it goes. So we're going to be immediately opening up shots into high value targets. The Orc Boar Biggins do have anti-large armor piercing and do represent a fairly significant threat to the Bow Ushabti and my other monstrous construct units. So we're going to try and take them out with the Bow Ushabti as quickly as possible. We've also opened up shots into the Crimson Killers here because, they're definitely going to be a high value target. Unfortunately, I did not bring the Regiment of Renowned Bow Ushabti, who would have been more, effective against infantry, but the regular Bow Ushabti will still definitely do some damage. You can see they're firing in here, and just, oh man, that Crimson Killer is definitely just a crimson splat now on the ground. So yeah, they're taking quite a bit of damage here. Their low model count is really going to punish them against a unit like Ushabti with Great Bows. But yeah, just all across the line here, the Greenskins are going to be advancing. We've brought down the Carrion just to kind of tie down the Gobbo firing squad for the time being. We're going to try and pull back up in the air and then come back around. The Broken Tusk Mob are in a position to try and protect, but the point is that we've got these guys tied down while this main line engagement is taking place. Crypt Ghouls will do okay against Orc Biggins, but Orc Biggins do have 50 armor. They're not the lowest armor units. I definitely call them a medium armor unit. They also have pretty high weapon strength and are just overall going to be pretty decent against the Crypt Ghouls. I do charge in these Nehekara Horsemen to help hold this front line and do quite a bit of shock damage on this Orc Biggin. Fortunately, I'm not going to micro these guys very well. I should probably pull them back and cycle in and out a few times. I'm trying to shoot Azhag, but unfortunately the thing about Azhag is he's fast enough that if he strays to the side like this, he's going to be able to dodge effectively the shots from the Ushabti Great Bows, as long as he stays on the move. Meanwhile, the Cambrian War Sphinx here, with my Lord on it, is just absolutely ransacking these Orc Biggins on the side. The other Cambrian War Sphinx is doing fairly well also, helping to just kind of tide up this flank and doing quite a bit of damage to those Orc Boar Biggins, who have nicely peeled away. Doing a quick just glance in there, it does look like they didn't quite connect fully on their charge. Maybe they had a different attack order, but a lot of my Skeleton Spearmen are starting to crumble away in the front line, which is unfortunate. And the issue is I really don't have the units to capitalize on the terror. The terror from the Cambrian War Sphinx and my Lord on the War Sphinx is going to be very strong. However, I don't really have the mobility to capitalize on it. If I had you know, some Warhounds or something, I could have put them onto this unit of Orc Biggins and chased them off, but unfortunately I don't have the troops to do so. We're going to get a little bit of a monster mash here in the center with the Khemerian War Sphinxes just going to town on the Crimson Killers here. Of course, the Crimson Killers will mop up my front line, just absolutely, but we need to use these monstrous units to do as much work as possible. You can see the bounce power slightly in my favor at this point. Broken Tusk Mob, though, still very healthy, and Azhag is trolling around still. Has taken some damage from those Shabti Great Bows, but has been dropping those Spirit Leeches on my Lord consistently. Looks like he's now targeting the Lich Priest, but the longer he stays stationary, the more fire he's going to take from the Shabti Great Bows, so it's a little bit dangerous. You can see he takes several shots there. It's going to do quite a bit of damage as well. He does not want to fight this Tomb King one-on-one in melee. The Khemerian War Sphinx is going to be more than a match for Skull Muncher, unfortunately, so doing a very wise thing, just staying back away from the battle, trying to you know, just dodge those shots effectively. I haven't been super effective with the Tomb Prince, but we've just been kind of trying to run into infantry blobs wherever, do as much shock damage as possible. Unfortunately, this Khemerian War Sphinx is a little bit caught out here, where it's going to get hit by this Gobbo firing squad, and with the armor sundered, it still was going to be at 80 armor. But just the pure volume of fire here is going to start to be, you know, pretty detrimental. As well, the poison from the Death Creepers and these regular Night Gobbo archers is going to be very strong as well. Azhag did come down here to try and get on these bow Shabti, but again, just responding with the Khemerian War Sphinx. Unfortunately, Azhag does have the speed to get back up in the air, but every time we land a hit on him, it's going to tank the Greenskins' leadership more and more. They're very much a faction that relies on their leadership, so if Azhag gets low to where he wants to route, most of the army should route as well. At least that's what I'm hoping for at this point. You can see the Khemerian War Sphinx unfortunately taking a lot of damage at this point. This is a really bad situation for me. I need this thing to stay online. We do still have the Tomb Prince on the chariot, though. He's going to be running around and doing some nice shock damage. Definitely riding hard for the Sirtha Ek boys, but the back line is a little bit rough. The Biggins have gotten onto the bow Shabti, and as I was saying, Biggins are a very good choice against the Tomb Kings. They're pretty much comparable to Tomb Guard, except that they have an anti-large bonus. They do have slightly worse combat stats, but 50 armor is comparable. Of course, they don't have a missile block chance, but they have around the same weapon strength. I'm actually interested to see, I may do some testing one-on-one with Tomb Guard versus Biggins to see how that trade goes, but I think Biggins are going to be a very good choice against the Tomb Kings. Of course, that anti-large bonus is going to be very effective against units like these bow Shabti and the constructs. Biggins are just a solid-round unit, you know, yeah, just all around. They're good against most Tomb King's infantry, I would imagine. They'll trade somewhat evenly with Tomb Guard just on paper, but yeah, you can see the Orc Boar Biggins, the Broken Tusk Mob, in fact, coming in here doing quite a bit of damage. Fortunately, I am probably going to lose this bow Shabti. I do still have the Tomb Prince, who's relatively healthy, or sorry, the Tomb King. I keep calling him the Tomb Prince, but he's actually a Tomb King. But yeah, the last of the bow Shabti crumbles there, and you can see the balance of powers turned actually pretty badly against me at this point. A lot of my infantry has been routed off, and this is a situation I've been in a few times with the Tomb Kings, where just all the infantry, all the chaff units crumble away, and without support, these monstrous units will start to take quite a bit of damage. Unfortunately, the Black Orcs, you know, these Crimson Killers are still standing in here despite all the damage they've taken. Their red armor is covered in red once again from the blood of their enemies and their allies alike. But yeah, it's going to be pretty tough. But you can see now that the Tomb King has gotten below 50% HP. I just want to highlight this quickly. The curse has actually gone down. So that curse is the curse that a lot of the Lord level characters for the Tomb Kings carry. It's going to do massive AoE, you know, direct damage, strong versus multiple combatants. So it's going to do quite a bit of damage to these Black Orcs and these Orc Biggins who are all blobbed up around the Tomb King. It's a nice kind of late game mechanic as well. We've got you can see how Azhag just hit that in range, and all these other troops as well, because we've dropped the curse from the Tomb Prince, which actually causes that enrage. Because all these units are low on health, they automatically just dropped into that enrage, which is very favorable for me. The idea here is that if we can take out Azhag with this Tomb King, we might be able to bring this match back despite how badly behind I am at this point. We're also going to be dropping the curse from the Lich Priest as well, which is going to lower the armor of all units in this pocket by 30. I'm going to be dropping that shortly if I haven't already, but Yeah, the Tomb King, fortunately, is not getting any attack animations on Azhag at the moment, but he is going to hopefully turn around and start doing some attack animations on Azhag. There we go. Now you can see that minus 60 armor on all these units here. Unfortunately, the Enraged effect did drop, though, so Azhag is going to be able to pull back up in the air. Can we finish him off, though, before he does? I don't think so. He's pulled out at a nice angle to the side and is going to get back up in the air. You can see, though, that push has routed off many of these greenskin troops. We have gotten ahead on the balance of power, so let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit through this late game scenario as I try and clean up some of these remaining forces. Azhag's going to try and dive in where he can, but he's super low on health at this point. He's going to have to pick his engagements very carefully. Unfortunately, my Lich Priest does get caught out and killed, as you guys could see there. Azhag did get a very nice charge, and unfortunately, I'm a little bit separated with my Tomb Prince here as well. Going after these skirmishers, I was trying to desperately to take them off the battlefield because they're doing a lot of damage. Rusty Airs especially are a huge threat to my Tomb King, but unfortunately a little bit over aggressive there, getting caught out, and the Tomb Prince is going to die to that Spirit Leech. So now the Tomb King is the only one left on the battlefield, and unfortunately the balance of power is not really looking in my favor. Despite all that, though, the greenskin forces kind of coming in piecemeal like this is allowing me to rout off many of their units, a lot of them actually shattering at this point. So despite everything, this battle's still very close. It is slightly against me in terms of the balance of power. Azhag drops down at the last moment here, and the poison from the Night Goblin archers is going to help carry. It does look like Azhag took quite a bit of damage, almost routed off there, but got back up into the air at the last second. I'm going to charge into these Night Goblin archers and try and finish them off. I mean, it's just barely out of reach at this point, I think. Unfortunately, if Azhag gets one more cycle charge down in here, especially with the support of these Death Creepers, who are absolutely clutch in the late game here. Yeah, with the Wog especially buffing up all these troops, although it does look like the Terror kicks in for the Death Creepers. Will it kick in for the Biggins? Unfortunately, Azhag does charge in, causing the Tomb King to start crumbling, and he's going to disintegrate. And a loss, very close loss. Super well played. You could see a lot of the forces actually routing at the last second for the Greenskins. So it was, you know, a game of inches, as Warhammer often is. Very well played to my opponent. Quarter Chub, yeah, I mean, I would definitely tweak this build a little bit, and since this game I've played a few games with a modified build and found it to be a little bit more successful, and I'll kind of talk through that in a moment here. But 162 kills on the Tomb King on the War Sphinx. He's relatively cheap in that, guys, and you know, he has definitely some very powerful attributes. It also allows you to take you know, a monstrous lord as the followers of Nagash, which then gives you access to crypt ghouls and you know, the hounds and so forth. The Khemrian War Sphinx by itself, you know, it could have potentially had some good targets here, but I just don't think it was really worth it in the end. We'll kind of talk through this in a little bit here, but the Bow Shop did fairly well for themselves. The Crypt Ghouls were very underwhelming. I was honestly expecting a few more low tier troops from the Greenskins, but I think you might want to go with Tomb Guard in this particular matchup, just because the Crypt Ghouls will really melt to Biggins, and I would imagine for the Greenskins you're never going to bring anything below Biggins up against the Tomb Kings, just because of the nature of their army. Yeah, I would probably, in hindsight, cut this Khemrian War Sphinx and bring it. Well, let's actually go look here. So instead of the War Sphinx, so the Khemrian War Sphinx is 1800, and since I already had my Lord on one, you know, it gives me that terror, that nice kind of anti-large, anti-infantry specialist. It's not technically anti-large, but right now at least it's very good against large single model entities, larger monsters, but it's 1800, so if you were to cut this, you'd have the funds to go with the Tomb Scorpion, which still has the terror, still has anti-infantry armor piercing, not quite as heavy and not quite as large as the Khemrian War Sphinx, but it's a lot more resistant to missiles because of its attack animations and the fact that it's a smaller target. It's just harder to hit. That's going to free up a little bit more funds to do other things. You could bring, if you're the followers of Nagash, as I was playing, if you really want to capitalize on the terror, you could bring some Fellbats, or you could bring some Direwolves to chase down routing units. If I had a couple of Direwolves to help chase down routing Biggins, it would have definitely helped me come back in that late game, especially. So just a bit of theory crafting. It's a matchup I still need to play a little bit more. I do think it's a matchup that, at least on paper, seems to favor the Tomb Kings quite a bit, because the Greenskins generally have problems dealing with large armored monsters, although the Greenskins firing squad, as you guys can see, can be legit. So tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. Again, sorry for my voice being so ragged, but hopefully we'll be back to normal tomorrow. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. And yeah, we'll see you next time.